Hello, and welcome back. As you join me today to speculate a little bit more on what could be coming up in this year's Halloween Horror Nights. I appreciate you joining me here today, and I really appreciate the amount of love that you gave for my last Halloween Horror Nights video. Hopefully we can replicate that in this one. Now today what we're going to want to do is be little analysts. We're going to want to be little investigators as we try to figure out what the speculation map for this year's Halloween Horror Nights might entail. So guys, if you guys have different ideas than I do, please comment them down below in the video as we try to solve the mystery of what could be coming up this Halloween Horror Nights. Now the first things first, we should get the rumors that we already know are circulating out of the way, and that includes Ghostbusters, The Nightmare on Elm Street, and believe it or not, The Weeknd making a return this year. Now while yes, these are rumors, it is still interesting to speculate about this because we don't exactly know how these IPs are going to be coming to this year's Halloween Horror Nights. The only thing we have a pretty sure idea on is The Weeknd. Now as all of you probably already know, The Weeknd had his own house at Halloween Horror Nights a couple years back, but this time we were expecting him to come back not in the form of a house, but actually in that of a scare zone. Now yes, we know these are just circulating rumors, but the rumors have been hinting towards the return of The Weeknd. He actually did come back last year for Halloween Horror Nights Singapore, so maybe we'll see the return of him this year as well. Those of you who are a fan of The Weeknd know that his album should be dropping later this year, probably around September, so right now would be a perfect time to capitalize on The Weeknd's success. Now going back to our other rumors, Ghostbusters and Nightmare on Elm Street, we don't have much evidence for these at all. Just like rumors, they don't have much base to stand on. But for Ghostbusters, we do know that Universal has recently acquired a Cadillac in order to, what we think, recreate the Ecto-1. We saw this purchase go down through Facebook Marketplace, so we know for a fact that Universal is right now either transporting or in possession of an Ecto-1. Now this is a pretty curious and suspicious time to pick up a random Cadillac, so as you can imagine, fans of Ghostbusters and fans of Halloween Horror Nights alike are all pointing towards Ghostbusters making a return. Now with the rumors out of the way, let's get into the actual speculation map, because this is what you guys came for. Now remember, this is a speculation map, and even though it's been given to us by one of the best speculators of the HHN community, it is still speculation, so take everything with a grain of salt. And of course, these are going to be my own ideas and opinions, and if you guys hate them or have ideas of your own, please comment them below. For quick reference, this was the speculation map for last year, and it ended up being semi-accurate, but as you can tell, there's a lot of things that just didn't make it. So speculation maps just go off of rumors and ideas, and they're not really on the nose, but we're going to take a look at it anyway. So for this year, the speculation map is actually a little different, because it doesn't have any actual IPs or words, just little icons of imagery, so this is all we have to go off of this year. So starting from left to right, we're going to start with these two icons right here, that being the skull with the vampire teeth, and the little symbol here of what looks like Central and South America. Now while the skull can be relatively vague and interpreted as just vampire or undead, I'm actually leaning more towards it being a return of the Vamp series, which has been before a bunch of little scare zones that we've seen return to HHN over and over year by year, but this year it might get its own Halloween Horror Nights haunted house. How cool would that be? Now while the lore of the Vamp series is loosely related, it would be nice to see all of these time periods come together in one big house. If you didn't know before, each Vamp series took place in a different time period, from the 80s to the 70s. Last year we were greeted with the Summer of Blood Vamp 69, which was pretty nice, with vampire hippies walking around. I thought it was quite fun, and I would love to see a house based on the Vamp series. Now underneath this we have the Central and South America, and a lot of people have been pointing towards the return of the Latin American monsters like we've seen in Universal Hollywood last year, but I have a different idea. We know that Universal likes dabbling in Latin American folklore and Latin American horror with the Curse of the Chupacabra before, and we've also had the La Llorona houses, which have been big hits. But my idea is that I've said in a previous video, and that being a very first time return of the Creature of the Black Lagoon getting his own house this year in Halloween Horror Nights. The Universal monsters are no stranger at all to Halloween Horror Nights, as they've been featured in multiple houses in the past, but the Creature from the Black Lagoon has been missing in all of these houses so far, so it would be nice to see him get his own house. Now I won't be going too into detail on how we know the Creature of the Black Lagoon is going to make an appearance at this year's HHN, because I did so on my last video pretty comprehensively, but I will link it below in the description. Now if we move above to the next icon, we have the logo for a Cadillac. And if you were paying attention, like I said earlier in the video, Universal has just recently purchased a Cadillac. What for? Everyone is speculating for the return of the Ghostbusters. Now this would be incredible timing, with this year being the 40th anniversary of the Ghostbusters. So are you hoping to see the Ghostbusters get their own house once again at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights? Now moving up to the next icon, we have this adorable little skull. And for those of you who were paying attention in the last tribute store, you'll recognize this as the actual logo for the comic book tribute store at our last HHN. Now from my knowledge, this is the first time we've ever seen this company and this logo at Halloween Horror Nights with the tribute store. And it was a really incredible tribute store, and they really went all out with the decorations, with the mannequins, with the special effects. It was a really incredible tribute store to actually experience. So we might get lucky enough this year to get maybe an anthology style house with the tribute store comic book being the theme. That would be really incredible, telling multiple short stories in one beautiful haunted house. Moving right along, we get this little lollipop icon, and not a lot comes to mind other than Trick or Treat, which is that classic anthology horror movie with that little dude Sam who is so much fun. So maybe we'll see the return of Trick or Treat to Halloween Horror Nights, but I actually have another idea involving another scare zone. And this scare zone was a scare zone back in 2022 named Sweet Revenge, which is all about candy and murder and really scary things. Now while this wasn't one of my favorite scare zones, I can say that it's very creative and it has a lot of potential to feature a really fun haunted house. After all, this was one of the most immersive scare zones that I've ever been in, all decorated with the floats and all the scare actors, and it was a lot of fun, so I would absolutely adore to have a haunted house based off of this idea. Next we have a unknown IP icon, which can really be anything, but it's more than likely going to be Blumhouse, because Blumhouse has a really tight-knit relationship with Halloween Horror Nights. We've seen Blumhouse cross over with Halloween Horror Nights multiple times before, both in haunted houses and little shows like the Megan show that we got last year. We also know that Blumhouse has pretty big IPs, including Five Nights at Freddy's, so maybe we'll finally get Five Nights at Freddy's at Halloween Horror Nights. Next up, we've got one that seems pretty obvious to me, even though it doesn't say that this is going to be an IP, because we have a little symbol that says no noise, and automatically my mind goes to the horror franchise A Quiet Place. Now while A Quiet Place is a relatively new horror franchise, John Krasinski really struck gold with this, striking 2 more sequels, and the newest sequel, which is going to be A Quiet Place Part 3, is coming out in June, so that's perfect timing to be able to capitalize on HHN. Now this house can choose to either focus on the original time period of The Quiet Place 1 and 2, or go back to the day 1, which is going to be Part 3. Either way, I'm going to be pretty happy seeing A Quiet Place represented at Halloween Horror Nights. Now going back to our little map, we have a unknown original, and this once again can be absolutely everything. We do have rumors circulating about an original mummy house, so maybe this is where that mummy house is going to sit. That'd be pretty cool, especially because the next icon looks like it's going to be based on Greek mythology. Now we have no rumors for that necessarily, but we do know that Halloween Horror Nights likes their mythology and their folklore, so maybe they're going to be delving into the Greek folklore. Looks like here specifically the Minotaur, so it would be pretty cool to have a house of us trapped inside the labyrinth with the Minotaur. Now here we move on to our final icon, and this little icon is a bit vague, and it can really be anything, but with the night, I'm thinking sleep, I'm thinking dream, and I automatically come right back to Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger. Now this could totally be absolutely anything else, but I really don't know what this icon is alluding to. It makes me think of previous houses like the Blood Moon, but I really don't know. What do you guys think? So that rounds off all of the icons in the speculation map, but we didn't touch on any of the scare zones, so let's do that real quick. Going from top down, we have the icon of the Death Eaters, so they're probably going to make a return. Then we have a little fire emoji kind of thing, and I really don't know what that can mean. And then below that, we have a little castle icon, and this can range from anything from Army of Darkness, or maybe it's going to be an original like we had with the Merlin and the Two Wizards house before with the Dueling Dragons house. It could be really anything. On second thought, I realized that this is not going to be a scare zone, this is actually going to be the HHN show. This is where Nightmare Fuel is always located, and it's probably going to be making another return, and fuel, fire, that probably explains the fire emoji. Speaking of show, there are rumors that we're going to have a water show in the middle of the lagoon in Hollywood Studios, so that would be really amazing, but it's just a rumor and we really don't know what that's going to be. There are also rumors of maybe a Halloween Horror Nights parade coming about, just like we see in Mardi Gras, but once again, just a rumor. So that about wraps up the speculation. Thank you guys so much for being detectives alongside me and trying to unravel this mystery of Halloween Horror Nights, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this just as much as I did. If you guys have any other theories or any other ideas, please make sure to drop them in the comments because I will read every single comment. Thank you guys so much for spending this much time with me. I really appreciate you and all the love that you give my videos. And yeah guys, thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one.